Wow. Here we are again, folks. An apology I would have to make for this particular excerpt. I said here, a child of God, knowing that God has kept me till now and for a purpose. And because He has, I need to maintain that purpose. I am now what you call a widower. I was married for 57 years, and I went with my wife 3 years before we married, so we were together in a big sense of the word totally for 60 years. Well, when you come into a house that you and her built, and you walk in the door, and her presence is not here in the sense that she's physically sitting here, but that she was part of it. Yes, I love God. Yes, I'm saved. Yes, I witness every day. Yes, I pass out tracts. Yes, I do all of those things that are required of a Christian. But can I do them with the same fervor that I did before when I was fixing to come home and this woman would be at the house? It mattered not if supper was ready. She was here. It mattered not what was going on. She was here. Made a big difference. So now here you are in the doldrums of loneliness, if you please. So I sat in the church. I was in church yesterday, and as I was in church, I looked around, and I saw some men whose wife has gone on, and they're still going on themselves. One of the most cheerful men in our church is our pastor's father. His wife has gone on a few years back, and he is making it daily, and he's a congealed type of fellow, and I have to be a congealed type of fellow. But underneath that congealness lies that missing link that's not there. Well, when you get by yourself, when you'd like something to eat, do you think that a single man can satisfy himself with something to eat? You got another thought coming. The worst meal that my wife ever made that I ever had set before me was better than any meal that I can make. As a matter of fact, having a meal is an extreme oddity around here. I just ate this morning for breakfast a bagel and cheese and marmalade. Well, where did that come from? Well, I remember one time being around somebody that was astute enough or wealthy enough or lived in a different kind of mode than us poor folks, and they had bagels and cheese. Well, when I was younger, we never threw the orange peelings away. Mom always made marmalade with them. So now I got, from the past, a bagel with cheese with marmalade on it, with two memories involved in it. And I ate it. It was good. Drank a half-baked cup of coffee, nothing like the coffee my wife used to make. I should have paid more attention while she was here to how she was doing things so that I could at least have a cup of coffee that tastes like she made it. And so when you are weary, let's look at this. There's only one thing I can do. The same thing I would tell you you're going to have to do. Whether you still have a husband or whether you do not still have a husband, you're going to have ask the Lord for mercy. God keeps your family, and God keeps His family. Have mercy on me, O Lord, for I am weak. Man. That's the humanistic part of man. When God is not completely at the forefront, you have found yourself at your weakest point. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. I can honestly say, I feel vexed in the bones in this life. Physical life, I am vexed in the bones. Yesterday was a good day for me, passing tracts and witnessing to people and getting out and doing that. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm in a good place. You let me come home and things are different. My soul is also sore vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me for thy mercy's sake. I would be so selfish. I heard a man a little while ago. I was listening to a story of a man and a woman. And the man got to the place in his life, in his married life, where they were so unhappy that he prayed, God, just take me home. Just let me have a bad accident, Lord, or something. Just kill me and take me home. But this life here is too strenuous on this earth. This man was a preacher. His wife was a Christian, and he was a Christian. But they had got at a crossroad where they were not happy in their life with each other. And things were not happy. And his being off, gone all the time, and preaching and visiting and doing things. It's hard for a woman. Has a man that pays no attention to his wife, yet he goes out and visits other women and visits other men and visits other families and visits other people and helps them. But his own home is not peaceful. His own home is a battleground. His own bed is not comfortable. They got a king-sized bed, and she's way over on one side and he's over on the other. If they both stretched their arms up, their hands wouldn't touch. And this is the distance thing. We have to be careful. After you lose your loved one, you've got to be careful. You don't let the distance between you and God get to where you can't put your hand in his hand and he can put his hand in your hand. My times of peace in the middle of my trouble, as yesterday, I was in the parking lot, passing out tracts, talking with people, and doing God's work. If you're doing God's work, your mind is not on yourself. Return, O Lord, deliver my soul, save me for thy mercy's sake. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In the grave who shall give thee thanks? I am weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with tears. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxed old because of all mine enemies. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. For the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. Psalm 6 and 2 through 8. The very people who are your friends when you have a wife, it seems like they have become your enemies. I mean, there's no fellowship. There's no even good friendship. There's no that jovial visitation that you had and that wonderful spirit of friendship. You don't have that anymore. It's gone. Completely gone. Now here you are. You're by yourself. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Isaiah 14 and 3. Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and your young man shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40, 28 through 31. My friend, if you are a woman or a man, and your spouse is deceased, The only thing that you can do is do what it says right here. Hast thou known, and I have known. And he said, hast thou not heard, and I have heard. The everlasting God, I have heard what he said. I will use you, Peter, if you get out of yourself and get out there and do what I tell you to do. You hang around in this house and be in yourself, you will become miserable. So therefore, get out. The Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not. Wow. And if he's in me, how can I faint? He fainteth not. Neither is worry. If he's in me and he's not worried, how can I be weary? We have got to let God override our physical emotions. We have got to let God override our inside self-pity that we have. He give power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. That's got to be my daily prayer. I want power, God, in my life, and I am faint. And to them that have might, he increases strength. What might do I have? I have the might of God within me. How can I increase in strength? I've got to get out there and do it. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. He is saying, if you rely upon yourself, even if you're a young man, you will faint and you will fall. But they that wait upon the Lord, they shall renew their strength. Wow. And they shall mount up with wings as eagles. Wow. And they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40, 28, 31. How am I, Brother Peter, going to continue in this life and be prosperous and be useful to God? And how can I sit in front of my own self in this computer and not say how God has blessed me? This particular house that I'm in, I own. I don't have any debt. Why should my soul be in heaviness? Strengthen thou me according to thy word is what my prayer has to be to the Lord. Psalm 119 and 28. It's morning time. I've had to be in close devotion to God to get through what the devil has dumped on me as self-pity. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Hey, I am now, right now, still in the land of the living. And what I need to do, I need to say, this is the day the Lord hath made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I will be glad and rejoice in it. And see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I'm still living. And I need to do what God would have me do. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. As I speak right here, right now, I have this picture in my mind of Paul, the apostle, being in the deep. Thrice, he said, 3 times I was thrown off a ship, and I was in the deep. And I swam one time for 3 days in the deep. Just think of how he must have felt. Here's a man walking across the country, going without something to eat, going without a drink, parched, watching out for the marauders behind the rocks, having to fend for himself, trusting in God, and God allows him to be in the deep. Well, that's where I am. I am in the deep. But God is with me, just like he was with Paul. Be not weary in well-doing, because at the end, you will receive the reward. I have not pictured myself working for a reward. But as I have studied today and tried to get out of the doldrums of self-pity, I have seen that I need to do with good courage, and He shall strengthen my heart. Yesterday, walked out into several different little old storefronts and handed out a pocket full of tracts. And the minute you start doing that, God comes on the scene and you have a happy life. So if you want to be happy, be active in the Lord. He shall feed His flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with His arms and carry them in His bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with young. Isaiah 40:11. For all things are for your sake, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many renown to the glory of God. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. Do you know I have to renew my inward man day by day to keep the outward man straight? It's hard to keep the outward man straight. You say you had a wife. You weren't supposed to be living just for your wife. I'm afraid there was many times when I did that. I had the woman that was the best woman that for me that ever was born on earth. No other woman could have been like this woman. I really shouldn't say these words, but I'm going to. She was kind of like a goddess to me. She was it. Man, I knew I wanted to come home. I knew whenever I got a chance, I wanted to come home. I wanted to walk in, even if no words were said. If she'd be sitting there knitting, I'd say, "Hey, babe." She'd say, "Hey, hon," and maybe go out and work or do something. But she was here. Makes a difference. For all things are for your sakes. Isn't that hard? That's scripture. For all things are for your sake, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many renown to the glory of God. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet our inward man is renewed day by day. You say, Brother Peter, you just read that a few minutes ago. Yes, but I needed to read it again for me. It's day by day. If I'm sitting here right now, trying to live for tomorrow, saying, "Oh, you know, tomorrow I got the same old thing. I'm going to get up. I got the same old thing. It's just me and the dog, and she stinks, and that's it." Whoa! If I think of that for tomorrow, I would be in the doldrums. They would be no fun for me. But today is the day the Lord hath made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I will turn the page right now and say, "Lord, help me to turn the page and get out here and go to work. Do what you would have me do. For which cause we faint not. Though our outward man perish, the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." Wow. 2 Corinthians 4:15 through 18. So, Peter, everything you do now and the rest of your days above earth can be put in the eternal. I do not know for a fact that when I get to heaven, my wife and I will still be one. See, Adam and Eve were one in the beginning. And God took that rib out of Adam, which was Eve, and made a physical woman out of her. But she was Adam's rib. And so I don't know what's going to be in heaven. Are we going to be again a new Adam and Eve? We don't know that. Let us not be worrying while doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Whew. Galatians 6 and 9. Can I afford to faint? No, I can't. Can you afford to faint? No, you can't. Are you in a place where the average person faints? Yes, you are. But you cannot afford to faint. Man, woman, boy, or girl that's separated from loved ones or whatever, right now you need to say to yourself, what counts? What matters? What matters is what you do in the Lord. That's what matters. So that's what I got to get out and do myself. I will not leave you comfortless. I will. He said, I will come to you. When you ask him, Lord, I need you. I need you today, God. I need you this morning. I listened to one of the best stories on heart something on the radio this morning. From the Heart, I think it is. Every human being that's saved ought to be listening to that program about a man and a woman, how they got through a miserable time of their life when God really, he was a preacher and she was a Christian, but God was really not between them. When they got together, God was not there. He was there for all of those from the pulpit out in the pew. And he was there for other ladies who needed counseling. But when it came to the wife, he was not there. And for her to come to him, and he was having a problem with that. And they were having a problem getting along. Until God got in between them and got in the mix. And he's holding her hand and he's holding his hand. And between them there is no gap. God is in the gap. Listen to this. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever. For in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. Your strength for today is in God, or you have no strength. Your strength is in the Lord today, or you have no strength. Wow, Isaiah 26, 3 and 4. I have put the last 24 minutes so far, I have put on there what I went through this morning to get me ready to go out of the house. I have a Bible open to Colossians, where I read some of Colossians this morning. He is the image, the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For by him all things were created, that are in heaven and that are in the earth, visible and invisible. Whether thrones, dominions, or principalities, or power, or all things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning of the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he may have the preeminence. For it pleased the Father that in him all fullness should dwell. Listen, I got out in the doldrums, in the oh-me's, and I got my books out. And I said, I'm going to find what I need. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the host of them, the breath of his mouth. Psalm 33:6. I got another one out. Joseph. Looking at Joseph. If Joseph had lived in the mindset that I've had the last few days, he would have been worthless. But he didn't. Joseph is a faithful bow God said that he came out of the tree that was a good tree. And he was a faithful bough, even a fruitful bough. He came out of that tree and he grew out and he yielded fruit. And by a wall whose branches ran over the wall. Oh, here's a tree outside of the wall, but the branches ran over the wall, and the fruit that he had was on the other side of the wall. What was the wall? The wall for Joseph was time. How long was that time? I forgot right now. We studied it recently too. From the time he was put in the pit to the time he became the head man in Egypt was a lot of time and a lot of trouble. That was the bough growing. And as he grew, do you know that he had the fruit that all of the world needed at the end? When Joseph was head in Egypt, the whole world was in a famine, and Joseph was the one that fed the whole world. Why? Because he stayed in the saddle. He stayed in. He got in, he stayed in. He didn't get out. He didn't let things detour him from being what he was supposed to be. Neither should we allow anything to detour us from what we should be, so that what we do have will run over the wall. What does that mean, Brother Peter? That means in a few minutes, you need to get out there, get in your car, and go outside of the wall that you built around you, and start talking about Jesus. Start talking about God. Start telling people if they die in their sin, they're going to go to hell. And if they say they are saved, have you got peace in your life? If you do not have peace in your life, you need to get this book out and get peace in your life. One more scripture and we'll close. Even by the God of thy Father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven, above blessings of the deep, that lieth under blessings of the breast and of the womb. Wow. He is in. Where are we? We are from the deep. We are from the womb and the breast of a female woman. And here we are today. Now what are we going to do with this body that was put out here by a woman? By the gift of God, by an act of God. There is nobody out here today that can go down to the finite act of God and dissect it. It was God's work that did it. That one little seed from a man in the womb of a woman can bring forth a child. Amazing, amazing. Only God. This is something God created. God did. And it was God that keeps it today. Listen, our time is come and gone. I've hit the 28-minute mark. And today, we're going to call this a short one. I'm the kind of guy that does long ones if I'm not careful. Listen, if you don't get in, you'll end up getting out. And if you get out, you'll get run over. And who's going to run over you? The devil is going to run over you and make you have a miserable life, not only today, but the rest of your life if you don't get in. So if the devil is running over you, say, I'm done. You're not running over me anymore after today. I'm going to get in the book. I'm going to get in the Word. I'm going to turn the television off. I'm going to turn all of the hellish stuff the devil's got out here for mankind off, and I'm going to get in the Word. And if you'll do that, God will keep you in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed upon Him. We'll see you next time. Right. Bye-bye.